It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 528. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hello.
Kodra.
Howdy.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hey there.
So, Nintendo Switch 2 has been out for a bit, and folks have had time to play Mario Kart World. Thoughts? Experiences?
It's definitely one of those games where, like, I play it and I'm like, this is very cool. And there is definitely a part of my brain that it's like, I don't know how to play this game. This game is sufficiently different, and I feel like I'm going to want to get some deeper analysis on what make you go fast.
I feel like, so here's the thing with Mario Kart games. I feel like I am coasting by on knowledge that I learned while playing Mario Kart 64.
I
can sufficiently play the game, and I'm okay with that.
Sure, I'm not going to disagree that you can play the game with that knowledge. That said,
there's also so much more going on.
There's so much going on in this game.
There's a lot going on, but I feel like you don't need system mastery to be okay at the game.
Sure, but I also experience at least some of my playtime of Mario Kart playing against somebody like Ashgar.
I mean, considering you are starting on we're starting on the same grounds here.
It's true. I'm just going to point out that I have played you in other Mario Karts before.
This is fair.
And so so there was some lack of system knowledge I had during those games that I have slowly picked up.
See, this is interesting because my experience as I've played a whole bunch of it over the last week or so has been, this is a game that intentionally defies tryharding.
I disagree with that very, very, very strongly.
I firmly disagree the other way. It is a game that wants you to have fun with it and be reasonably good at it. Like, yeah, you could do a bunch of analysis, but like, there's no reason to.
Well, it will make you win. Like, if you go online,
cc.
if you try to race other human beings, this is like the Pokemon thing, right? You do not need to know the meta knowledge to beat even the hardest CPUs. You do need to know it to get the fastest time trials.
Well, sure. I mean, I sort of fundamentally think that the only human beings that I ever want to play Mario Kart or Smash or any similar game with are people that I'm sitting next to me on the couch.
Yeah.
And under basically no circumstances do I want to go online.
Fair, but I'm saying it's not exactly a level playing field. Even though the game tries very hard to make it so. The game does a pretty good job of making it so.
It does a very good job of it. Like, it has the smartest adaptive difficulty that I have seen since Left 4 Dead. To the point where I think that it low-key has a handler in the same way that Left 4 Dead does.
I don't really think it does, but it is doing a good job.
It's
doing a much better job than 8 of not bogging down the entire middle of the pack, which is one of the things that is a problem with 8. Like, 3rd and 4th place tend to take each other out a lot. So 1 and 2 just kind of get away with it from everything. It does not happen as much in this game.
Yeah. I have watched a 2.5-year-old play this game quite a bit. And it is very, very interesting. Like, just sitting back and watching, okay, we've turned on basically play for me mode. Which is a decent number. It is what feels like the correct number of settings to be able to say, actually, I would like to play this game with assistance, but I don't want to be bogged down in assistive options that become overwhelming.
They added the much needed one, I think, from 8, honestly. 8 did not have auto item use.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, it's got auto excel, try to keep me on the track, and auto item use. I possibly Kodra has seen what this will do when stressed. But like it'll take second and third in 150cc.
Interesting. I did not see it taking second or third. So that
It
is
will-
different.
It will easily take second. It will easily take first or second in 50cc.
Yes, absolutely.
It will do. I haven't played any 100cc, but at 150cc, I can play with my toddler and she'll take like pretty reasonably third. But if you track where she is at any given point in the race, it's fascinating because she'll drop back to like 20th plus place, and like you can see it kind of be like, nope, it is unacceptable for a player to be doing this poorly. We are going to make this happen, and like ups its aggressiveness and ups its like technical skill, and it will take shortcuts to catch up.
Well, the shortcuts are usually things the CPU is only going to take if it has the items to make them work. And so in 20th place, you're going to get those items, and it's going to know all of those shortcuts.
Well, but it also, while true, there are a number of shortcuts and a number of maneuvers that don't require items, and it will do those.
Yeah.
But it will start doing them much more aggressively when it's behind, it's super neat to see.
So is there any defense against a purple shell?
There are several.
Shell?
Or blue shell or whatever?
There are several.
Yes.
It's a purplish blue.
The classic example is the music box.
Yeah, the big horn will destroy a blue shell if it's near you.
Oh, okay. I had no clue what that was used for.
If you have precise timing, a mushroom will do it, although getting a mushroom in first place is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Well, like, I know back in the day, and this is still a thing I do, where I will hold a shell in reserve.
They do that for you automatically now.
Yeah, it just does that now.
Where like, if you get hit by a red shell, the turtle shell will get hit instead.
They just automatically do that. You don't need to hold the button anymore. I love it.
It has required me to learn habits because as soon as I press the button down, it fires.
Well, what I find really interesting is that it automatically puts it up, but it also means that the item stays in the box. So you can't do the old trick of holding a shell, getting more items, and using
that's been a thing since Mario Kart 8, the Wii U version, sort of killed this. Like when you held the item, it stayed in the box, and that game only had one item box.
Right.
But when they made Deluxe, they gave 2 item boxes, so you could do the old thing again and have hold one and have one in backup. Now they just sort of automatically do that for you.
It's also interesting to me that you don't need to hit the double question mark block to get 2 items. If you already
It's weird. Like if you you mean if you already have an item?
If you already have an item and you hit another question mark block, it'll spin the second one.
That's also continued from 8.
You can also split the difference between 2 blocks and hit 2 at once.
That doesn't work anymore. You hit 2 single simultaneously, you get 1 item.
Really? I thought I got 2. I swear I swerved through and got 2, but maybe I did.
I think if you swerve through and hit them not at the same time, that works. But like trying to aim exactly to hit 2 in the middle of it doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
But like none of this stuff matters. The catch-up items are very good now. The lightning is extremely good now.
The lightning is really weird.
Doesn't last as long as it did in 8, but it's still like quite good as a catch-up item.
It feels like it lasts a variable amount of time.
Extremely variable, depending on what place you're in.
That's why.
So, like, first place is shrunk for much longer than 20th place.
Yeah.
And I don't think it hits anyone behind you anymore. But, like, also the gold shell can hit several people on the way up. The bullet bill exists, but it's less strong than 8. It was too strong in 8. But that's fine, because you're going to get another item while you're on the bullet bill. So maybe your next one will be just as good, or maybe another bullet bill.
On that matter, other than giving you a cool costume, what do the Happy Meals give you?
It's a mushroom.
Anything?
They give you basically a mushroom.
Okay.
They give you varying, depending on the rarity of the food you get a varying degree of mushroom power.
Some of them are longer, some of them are less long.
There are so
That
many
is-
characters you can play as in this game.
Most of those are costumes.
The deep cuts are incredible.
I don't know what to think about that. Yes, you have some very deep cuts. Did we expect Cataquack to show up as a playable character?
I did
The
not
cow from Moo Moo Farm?
I did not expect Cataquack or Cow to show up. There's also, near as I can tell, there are CPUs that you can't play as. Dolphin?
I don't think that's true.
I don't know if that's true. I got Pinata, which I thought was surprising.
Dry Bones Fish appears to be a thing you can eventually unlock.
Incredible. I don't know what causes Kamek to go around and start turning people into things.
I don't know, but if Kamek turns you into something you don't have unlocked yet, it unlocks it.
Yeah.
I also like how the character you are largely unlocking is usually the person that's second place in the Grand Prix. Like there's one CPU that's very good, and usually that's the costume you unlock.
Oh yeah, it's really cool to be able to be like, oh, that's who you're gonna get.
Man, Daisy is really strong right now, huh? Good thing I'm gonna unlock Daisy.
Daisy is the personalities. This is one of the characters. I was reading a review and they were like, they've made like Daisy is incredible in this, and I agree. Like, I think they struggle sometimes with the personalities of various characters, but they really nail Daisy in this one. And my favorite character is still great. So
is who?
My favorite character is Rosalino.
Oh yeah.
The very top end of mid-size to very bottom of heavy perfection. Free roam is really fun too. Like, it's not the deepest thing ever, but it is really cool.
Yeah, I love free roam. I was like, especially going around and being like, oh, there's a bunch of just random challenges here, and like, oh, this is how all of the courses link together.
Yeah, like half the challenges are, hey, do you know how to use this item that you might get sometimes? No? Here's a chance to practice.
I think I mentioned this the other week when we first talked about it. I really like knockout mode. I think it's fun.
Knockout mode is a great addition.
I like the continuous race aspect of it, where you could just like burn through an entire circuit essentially.
Yeah, that's really cool. I do also like the how in Grand Prix you just go to the next course though.
Yeah, that's the rolling start courses I really have enjoyed.
Yeah.
They're a little weird to time the boost, but since you're already in motion.
The fact that all the tracks connect is really cool. It's been a while since I've played a game that is so dedicated to it would like the people playing it to be having fun with it, almost regardless of who is actually playing it. Because like the track layouts have some pretty intense like technical difficulty in some cases if you're like really trying to push the limits, but also you can just play them. Although 150cc knockout mode will test you.
Yeah, the presence of courses with significant technical difficulty is why I think there are rewards for like getting good at the game. You will get better, you will get faster, you'll be able to make faster times and generally do better in Grand Prix.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary to have fun with the game on a baseline level.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's the part that differentiates it from like some of the previous entries in Mario Kart for me.
I do think
there have definitely been Mario Karts where it's like, oh, this is for people who think if you're not getting blue sparks on every turn, you're a scrub.
Mario Kart DS was kind of really bad with that. Yeah.
Mario Kart DS is specifically the one I'm thinking of.
I was about to say,
and it was enough that I like didn't really attach to Mario Kart 8 because I was like, I played the last one of these and I don't really want to do this again.
I don't think Mario Kart 8 was that bad about it.
No, it was.
It was not.
I don't think
neither was Wii. Just DS I don't think it was an outlier.
I was just burned by the DS, so I didn't.
Like Wii was less of that, and then in my opinion, 7 was kind of none of that. But 7 was, or DS was a huge offender.
Yeah, DS was like, it burned me out of Mario Kart for a while.
Yeah, what you're experiencing with World really, I think, was started in 8, because like it feels very much like the logical continuation of that game.
But yeah, it's very good, and it is doing the thing that I want from Mario Kart, which is I can play it in a really chill, fun way with my friends / children.
So, how good is the network multiplayer? Has anyone played any of that?
Couldn't tell.
I haven't yet tried.
Seed and I tried it like the first weekend, but we couldn't connect, so we haven't had a chance to try it since. So hopefully it works better now. Like first weekend, I can understand why maybe it was a little hard to connect, but hopefully we'll get a chance to try that out soon.
I still feel like I have a lot of course learning to do.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a ton of time with it because there's been a Minecraft craze at our house.
I like the course design better than what I played of 8.
I said it before, I do find grinding like a fascinating tech. And it's way more prevalent than I thought it was going to be, but in like very obscure ways as well. And so I'm always like, that's one of the ones I'm very curious, like what grinds are good? Yes, and
try it. Does it get you ahead? Does it get you behind?
Yeah. Great questions.
Like, I am very much a learn by doing in terms of Mario Kart.
Yep, same. I find the grinds are highly variable.
The one thing that got me is that if you just like fall off of them, you get like nothing. But if you jump off of them, you get a boost.
Yeah. Thus far, the grinds have felt really intuitive to me. Like, oh, this looks like it's going to be helpful, and it is. This one looks like it's not going where I want to, and it's not. But I kind of like that it's not universal. I also feel like recovery from being... Did Mario Kart 8 have, like, weak hits?
It had some. Like, a banana would just sort of spin you out.
Yeah. There's some that just, like, knock you... Especially, like, environmental hazards will frequently just, like, bump you to the side, but you can get control back.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a new level of this was bad, but not, like, tumble you over bad.
Right. And even like blue shells aren't, oh, I'm just stopped for like a full 2 seconds.
That one I wonder, because I like a very late tweak in Mario Kart 8, like after the most recent DLC started coming out, like in the middle of it, they tweaked things like how long things laid you out on like a per character basis.
Oh, interesting.
So like some of the previously extremely overpowered things had like basically no invincibility after they got hit. They got hit for longer, so on and so forth, things like that. Mostly this applied to things that were otherwise very fast, so that they would be less fast in online. I think some of them still remained quite good for like time trials, things like that.
I still choose my characters purely on vibes in that game. There's probably a better character than for what I'm doing than Rosalina, but
there may or may not be. Like,
I tend to play a lot of Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong is also in that sort of mid heavyweight tier.
Yeah.
I always thought it was weird Rosalina was also in that tier. I guess stars are heavy.
Yeah. She's got a relationship with gravity. There was a brief debate in my home about whether Rosalina or King Boo had less attachment to gravity or the ground. I think ultimately it's about the same, but Rosalina has more contempt for the ground. I don't understand when being a plane happens.
It still seems to be when you pass over like blue ramps, when you would have gotten a glider in Mario Kart 8.
Oh, okay.
I do like that there are boats now. Like you turn into a boat too. Sometimes.
I will say the controls for this are unique.
For the boat?
Yes.
Yes. Also the glider, to be fair.
True. And this is the most impressive Rainbow Road I think I've ever seen.
This Rainbow Road is amazing. It's so good. Like every part of it is incredible. Like I've mentioned it, but like I'm really impressed by the track design. Also, the music is great.
Music is great. Again, Mario Kart 8 had they recorded live music for all of those tracks. They seem to have done that again.
Yeah.
Except in a slightly different style.
It's a great style.
There was also a new Nintendo Direct for the new Donkey Kong game. I did not watch it, but I hear some of you did.
Yes.
New Donkey Kong looks incredible.
Really? I'm
Yes.
Absolutely.
excited about this. I haven't played a Donkey Kong game since Donkey Kong Country, I think.
So
I mean, if you missed the Donkey Kong Country Returns games, then you missed some excellent 2D platformers. But there hasn't been a 3D Donkey Kong game since DK64.
And while this definitely, I did have to look this up. This does just say it's developed by Nintendo. Boy, feels like there might be some rare DNA in there. I don't know, something big protagonist with tiny sidekick support character.
Was
You're
Tropical
saying
Freeze
Rare
not
has a type?
a 3D game?
Nope. I mean, it contains 3D models, but it's just 2D side-scrolling
Okay.
platformer.
But yeah, so the thing that was the big reveal is like you're Donkey Kong and Pauline. And so Donkey Kong is like the person controlling you, you're controlling, but you also have Pauline, who is a singer and like has musical powers to help you out. And
And rides on your
okay.
shoulder.
I was
rides on-
trying to figure out why Pauline was in Mario Kart.
Pauline
was in Odyssey.
Yeah,
I
Pauline
know,
was in
but
Odyssey.
She's just been like it's sort of weird that she's been this like taken center stage for in Mario games again lately.
Oh, yeah. They remember she exists and they decided that they like her.
Yeah, I mean,
Her hat's got cool Carmen Sandiego vibes.
this is true.
And they can have somebody who can sing and dance, and they can put more like beautiful female vocal leads into their soundtracks. Like but this is also the style of Nintendo game in which you can have one player play as the main character and somebody else play as the support character.
Yes.
Yeah, this is borrowing a lot of notes, an absurdly large number of notes from Mario Odyssey.
Oh man, I'm hyped.
But like, boy, it is doing that, but at the same time, like this game looks like I don't know what game this even looks like. It looks so different. Just because like a big conceit is you're this massive bruiser of a character that can break literally any of the terrain.
I mean, I heard someone say earlier today, it looks like it could be a Hulk game if it was,
Yeah, right. I was like, I've played Red Faction and Hulk games. I'm into it.
I have never played either of those. So, but yes.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
All the terrain is destructible. Have fun with it.
I mean, it is also cool. Like you have a bunch of hidden areas underground that you're going to be going to, and like different ways to sniff out secrets. It's neat. I'm excited. And they remembered that the best part of Donkey Kong Country was the cool different modes you could go into when you had animals to ride. So now periodically you can just turn into those cool new modes.
I love it. When is this come out?
July 17th.
Sweet.
I saw some people mentioning that like maybe they should have waited to launch until this game was ready, because currently there's one unique Switch 2 game, and this would have been a great additional one.
Well, that's true. Like the Switch 2 just feels really good, and I'm just very happy to have it right now.
It has won me over surprisingly quickly from something that I was like, whatever, to, oh, we're playing this daily in my house.
I have to say the ability to quickly do the virtual cart swap between this and the regular Switch is quite nice.
I don't know that I fully understand the virtual cart thing, and I haven't really paying attention.
I mean, it is really their way of saying like you can have these two devices in the same home and like easily like play both of them with the same library of games, as long as you aren't playing the same game on both devices.
Yeah, like it's an upgrade to the way it was, but also
is it though? Because
I mean, okay, so like say you switch devices, you basically had to like wipe one and copy everything to the second one, and lost access on the first one from things. Like the transition between the two devices was smoother, I think.
Yeah, because it's separate from the family sharing thing, which is how you loan it out to Switches that aren't linked to your personal account. Like you could basically just get on whichever of the two devices and say, I want to play this game. And as long as nobody's playing the game on the other device, then you're playing the game. That said, our Switch is currently living in its, carrying case because don't really need it for much right now.
Yeah, same.
It will go with my kid to grandma's when he visits her, probably.
I did get a hold of a new Pro controller, and it's very nice.
I did go ahead and buy the new Pro controller. And yeah,
I also did
good.
because they are $75 at Costco, which is better than the 90 I've seen elsewhere.
That is also where I got mine for the same reason.
I also went ahead and bought the GameCube controller because I'm that guy that wants to play the old games with the correct controller.
I am tempted to do this, but I already have a GameCube controller. I have enough of them to play Smash with. And that old Wii U adapter still works.
Aha.
I do respect Nintendo for sticking to that.
But yes, I'm super excited. I was not really that thrilled about the idea of Donkey Kong. It didn't look like a game I would be really into, but I am very excited for it now.
I'm into this. I have fond memories of 100%ing Donkey Kong Country games.
I think really for me, that game, more than anything, was its amazing soundtrack.
And
that looks like it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
They definitely played the DK rap at one part of the direct and showed that because one of the items you can get from enemies is like soundtracks you can play.
I love that Nintendo has not forgotten that they have some great music and has clearly been paying attention to places like OC Remix. The Mario Kart World Yoshi's Island themes are great.
I mean, I was very happy to hear and see Airship Fortress come back. It's been so long.
The walls in Mario Circuit also pluck at my nostalgia heartstrings a little bit.
They've been doing that one for a while.
It's a great bit, but I'm here for another Mario style co-op game. I feel like Mario Galaxy picked up the torch from Sonic 2.
Yes, absolutely.
And like when they decide to do it, it's really cool actually.
So I'm a week into the Mercenaries League for Path of Exile, and I have not had as much time to play as I normally do during a league start scenario, but during the show I hit 115 to 115 maps and have gotten my 4 Void Stones and have taken down one of the story mode versions of the new bosses, which unlock through finding an NPC in a specific tier of maps and then doing what is essentially the equivalent of an Atlas memory from before, but they're now tied to this new thing. Yeah, so you've got like, I want to say it was 5 maps in total, and then you fought like a remix of one of the previous bosses. So it was kind of like this weird remix of Sirius, and it was much easier than actual Sirius. And that was basically a map boss, sort of like a guardian or a map guardian boss would be, about that difficulty. And then after that, it spawned in the actual boss fight, and where you witness a memory of Xana's past, how basically like I don't know if these are legitimate memories or if this is like her being tortured somehow, but like it's always like, the first one was basically the memory of a neglectful father, and then they're bad feel maps.
I was about to say, isn't her father like the Shaper?
Yes.
Her father is the Shaper.
I mean, yeah. Shocker, this guy's a bad dad.
What?
But yeah,
the Shaper is a bad dude and should feel bad.
You see like this memory of baby Zana being pushed aside by her father, and then everyone breaks out into rose petals, and then the boss spawns in, and it's like a version of the Shaper, but not really. But it wasn't too bad. Like I've heard that even the real version of these fights aren't too strenuous, that they're expecting that probably when they implement the Uber versions, they'll be amped up significantly, but they're not. So far, the versions seem to be fairly reasonable. There's some interesting chase uniques. I got this belt that makes it so that I am negatively affected by skitterbots, but in addition to chill and shock, a third skitterbot spawns, which is a scorch and like ignite skitterbot. So I don't know what shenanigans one can do with that, but it is interesting at least. Like there definitely seems to be that's a thing somebody will build around at some point, since there are ways to reverse the impact of a lot of the negative effects. Or if you're just ailment immune, it doesn't matter at all.
I've been somewhat tempted to try playing this game again.
One of the things that I have been doing this time around is I have been crafting most of my gear and or stealing it from Mercenaries instead of buying it. So this has influenced the type of tree that I'm running with the Atlas. So like my primary Atlas tree is harvest and delve, so that I can, have access to the very powerful crafting options that you have with those two leagues. Recombinators actually seem pretty reasonable now that they're standard. I absolutely managed to successfully recombinate a like normal dot multi and fire dot multi on the same scepter. Scepters are really, really, really weighted so that they don't want to roll physical stuff. So crafting good scepters is much easier than it used to be. I am pouring so much harvest essence into trying to craft a pseudo 6-link helm. And like I've gotten some that would have been usable, but I'm being stubborn and I want 2020 instead of like 1820 or 1618 or so like I could have had a usable version a long time ago and moved on with my life, but so I just got an Elder Helm that was a workable base and have been slowly crafting at that, and then I've got like bins of crafting project items. So like next thing I'm going to work on is trying to make myself a better set of gloves. So that's been interesting. Like I've never really like shied away from trading for things in past leagues. So, but Mercenaries definitely are an amazing source of gear, at least for the, getting to maps and then getting through maps type progression. They did patch Mercenaries to make them a little bit more reasonable for players. Because if you were not a very defensive player, a lot of times you were just getting one shot by them without even like a second thought. Because they had this gem called Ignore Damage Reduction that was just like linked into. They have a bunch of gems that don't exist, like, and that was one of them, and they basically made it so that they won't spawn with that anymore. Yeah, because it was just ignore your defenses. And then they overcorrected, and for a little bit of time, they were useless to even have because they were dying instantly in maps and stuff. So then they tweaked it again to make a difference between NPC mercenaries and player mercenaries. And they're in a pretty good state. Like, you can do some interesting stuff with them. Like, the thing that I've learned from last week is I said there's specific archetypes that come with specific abilities, and it's not that cut and dried, because just because something is that archetype doesn't mean it has the same abilities. So you kind of have to play fish for the mercenary that you want. So I'm currently using one that's getting a little long in the tooth, and I really need an upgrade. because I think it's like a 74 Mercenary, and I would really like to find an 83 version of it. But the ones that I have encountered don't have exactly the same loadout, and I want exactly that same loadout. But it does kind of give you something aspirationally to be looking for in maps, is checking to see if you have a slightly better version of the Mercenary you're using. I noticed that like all of a sudden they started actually like I've got an explosive arrow Mercenary that has flammability set as a blasphemy setup.
That's quite nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there are a lot of situations where you can actually run into mercs that have like multiple auras that they're providing. So like they may be giving you like haste and hatred or something like that. So that if you get just the right synergy with just the right merc, you can potentially drop one of your auras to put on something else. I wish there was a better synergy between the damage over time mercs and RF, because I'd love to have their malevolence aura, but also like so far running with a toxic rain merc doesn't really work that well with RF. I've been trying to run with mercs that complement my weaknesses so that they have like maybe, more broad coverage or better single target damage or, something like that. It's a cool mechanic. And gearing was so much easier this time as compared to any other league. And then there's also just the fact that I've been doing these leagues for long enough that I've started to absorb some knowledge about how to craft. I will probably never have mirror tier crafts, but like I feel like I'm pretty decent at making passable gear at this point.
So I'm trying to decide if I want to play this, and if I do, what build I should go with.
I tell you, rolling magma mines, just for the meme.
I think I'm gonna not do mines this time.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sad about Hex Blast.
The hottest meta build right now is Volcanic Fissure of Snaking Berserker.
This is hilarious to me because it did not get any buffs this patch. It's been good for a while.
Yeah, so right now 18.5% of the player base on PoE Ninja is running Volcanic Fissure of Snaking, which is beating RF as, the highest played loadout.
I have been, so the one I'm kind of looking at right now, because I know Grace has played this, is Explosive Arrow Ballistas.
Which is great. And there's a variant that's popular right now in this league, running it as an elementalist and doing the golem nonsense.
I'm specifically, again, I'm kind of looking for either something on the one of the two bottom classes, either
Duelist or Ranger.
Not Ranger, Duelist or
Shadow.
Not Shadow. Who's the pure red? The one that becomes a Juggernaut.
Marauder.
There we go.
You're wanting something on Marauder?
Marauder or Duelist.
Okay. Yeah, so old school EA Ballista is still a perfectly cromulent build. Like it is, I think you could still play it on Champion even, which is off of Champion got some reworks, but Champion got better than it ever was. So
Champion got kind of tossed into the dirt last patch and got a lot better this patch.
Right. So okay, so how it used to be was, I want to say that like last patch the maximum fortification that you could get that was just permanent fortification was 15 stacks.
That's correct.
And then previously it was just 20 stacks flat is what you got as being a champion. Now it's based on whatever your maximum fortification is. So if you stack a bunch of additional fortification on the tree, you just have that fortification now.
That's nice.
Yeah, so like if you can get it up to 26, 28, whatever, you now have 28 fortification permanently. You can still use Perseverance, which is broken for champion with permanent fortification on it. So like there's still a lot of stuff going on. The problem is champion leans heavily towards a melee build now with some of the other stuff it's got going on. There's enough juice on its tree to basically play it as anything, kind of like you can play a trickster as anything. But yeah, EA Ballista is a great build. I've done it several times. I've played it as what was the thing before? Was it Ranger? No, Raider. Raider was the thing that Warden used to be, right?
Yeah. That would be a weird build.
I think I played it as a Raider, and then I played it as a champion a couple times.
I was not aware of any Raider version of this build. There was an Elementalist version, which I can confirm was really quite good.
Yeah, and it's hot again this league because of the golem changes. So they're basically just running 4 golems with it. I mean, I've already got a Diet and Dawn sitting in my bank. If you end up going down this path,
No.
What is this?
That's the thing that you usually put on with a...
It's a belt, I believe.
Yeah, it's a belt that's commonly used for EA Ballista. You deal no physical damage, but Ignite You Inflict deal faster damage. I don't know. EA Ballista is a lot of fun. Honestly, there's a lot of totem builds that are a lot of fun. I forget what it actually is, but the thing people call pizza sticks is apparently functional again, which is a Hierophant with like Flame Blast totems.
Flame Blast totems is pizza sticks. This is a build I heard people talking about when we started the game, like back in Sentinel, as being a thing people didn't do anymore.
Yeah, like apparently it's now 100% back and functional. It's a boss killer.
Pizza sticks, incredible.
It's a totem, and then the graphic looks like a giant pizza when it expands from it.
Flame Blast is a big red circle in the ground, and it's a totem build, so pizza sticks.
I make the sticks make the pizzas. Makes sense.
Yep. Volcanic Fissure of Snaking Slayer is also apparently a thing, but I think you can just play any slam built on a Slayer.
This is, again, not new.
I've not ever played a Berserker or a Slayer, and I feel like at some point I want to. So
I've played a lot of Berserker at this point, and it got a lot better last patch. Like, it got some of its things tweaked, and almost all of them were. Warbringer was a nerf in that it cut out like 40% of your damage, but in a way that was really clunky and annoying to use. So, get that from somewhere else.
The thing that's always kept me away from playing Berserker is just you take more damage.
You take 10% more damage, but you know how much less damage you take from everything else?
Yeah. I know they have access to all the things that made Juggernaut or Chieftain tanky.
Yes.
It's just it's just a mental problem I have. I don't know. It's a good league. Mercs are fun. Mercs help a lot as during the rough spots in your leveling process. I mean, they can't 100% carry you, but they certainly do back you up significantly.
Seems like a good overall place to be, though.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, like, it's the thing. I really hope there's a version of this that survives, because being able to cherry pick bespoke rolled gear that fits reasonable archetypes is an amazing benefit for just gearing yourself. Also, like I've done this a couple of times, but there's now a gambling vendor in every single town and the gambled gear tends to use the quote unquote well rolled model. So that's also a reasonable way to, like, if you just need, like, I need a two-handed axe. Like, I'm not getting a two-handed axe. Throw some gold at, gambling to see if something decent comes out of that. And usually they're fairly well rolled, to where you at least get a pretty decently rolled blue. if you don't get a rare. Anyway. So since we talked about, like, this is really brief, but since we talked about this some weeks ago, the marathon news has continued to become dour. It is now indefinitely postponed.
It is not canceled. It is indefinitely delayed, which are different things, only barely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well,
Oof.
I mean, Sony did talk about it at an investor call last week, I think. So it is still in the corporate memory.
in a good way.
I mean, they don't want it to be another
They don't want it to be Concord.
Concord. So we'll see. I think what's going to launch is going to be a wildly different game than what we've seen to this point.
If
That's
anything.
probably for the best.
Man, I hope something comes out for the best. But also, like, ugh.
Very
So
little
much
about
of-
this is a surprise.
Well, so much of what I've seen, knowing that it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't, it feels like there's been some,
Well, they went all in on live services because they really want to print money. And the two that are the closest to launching are Marathon and Fair Game $. And it is also not being well received and has had the person that was leading that studio leave recently. So it's kind of up in the air as to what's going to happen with that.
As we've talked about on this podcast several times, not everyone has infinite time to play infinite live service games.
Yes. Yes.
not anyone, in fact.
True.
Every one of these is taking away people from every other one of these. Like, I don't know that there's a magical pool of gamers out there that is an undiscovered territory.
I'd be shocked at this point. Video games are not that weird thing that only children and adults who haven't grown up do. Everybody knows that games exist and probably plays at least some.
You know, I mean, I feel like games are dealing with the problem that Facebook was dealing with, where literally they ran out of population on the earth that they had yet to onboard onto the platform.
Yeah.
So the green candle going up can't go up anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to continue your exponential growth when the population to support that does not in fact exist. This is something we learned long ago with every single pyramid scheme ever, and now it appears to just affect everything. All capitalism. Hooray.
I always think about, like, one of the most fascinating charts that I've followed is the population of the US, and you could do this in a variety of different countries, but being where I live, it's US. Population of the US that plays a video game at least once a week from 1990 to today, and how that has gone from like 3% to 97%.
Mm-hmm. Do you play your daily Wordle? Congratulations, you play a video game.
And like, it's there is nothing about Wordle that isn't more video game than stuff I played as a kid.
And there's lots of web-based games that are more complicated than the games I played as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's gotten to this interesting space where, like, for a while I did not consider myself a gamer for, like, not related to video games themselves reasons.
Sure.
But now it's like I don't really consider myself a gamer because, like, I don't really, I mean, I do, but in the same way that I think of myself as like a human being.
Yeah, it's a label
Like,
that doesn't have a lot of meaning at this
yeah.
point.
And it's a thing that I run into when, like, I meet new people. They're like, oh, you would like such and such. They play video games. I'm like, I don't actually know if that's true. They watch TV. I don't know.
They
Like,
eat food.
yeah, they eat food.
Well, and I've dealt with that at work for years where, like, you know, we have the moment of, you know, talking about games we're playing, and I'm playing things totally different than everyone else sitting at the table. And in truth, nobody sitting at the table is playing the same thing because they're all playing different stuff.
I mean, there are enough. Like, we now live in a world where there are enough. There's enough variety and enough like catering to hyper specific tastes that it's rare that all of us are playing the same game at a given time.
Well, and I think the other thing that happened is we have so many games that demand to be played as a hobby unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything has your daily chores.
What is Siralim Ultimate?
Siralim Ultimate is the fourth game in a series of creature collecting games that are very much grindy dungeon crawler, interesting party buildings thing going on.
Okay.
I bring this up because I chose to restart it recently, just to see how it would look if I started as somebody other than the Pyromancer. I think I actually like the Pyromancer, but it's kind of interesting having monsters that actually have physical strength when you start. But the sort of conceit for this game is that party building is serious business. There are a lot of creatures. You confuse them in weird ways, kind of like, I don't know if anybody played Monster Rancher.
I played so
Yes.
much Monster Rancher. I had a notebook recording all the CDs
Yes.
that I tested.
Yes.
This is less on the monster raising, like that's not really a thing. You just sort of take them in the dungeon and battle them. But in terms of like traits and
Mm-hmm.
manipulating fusions and stats and things, it does remind me more of Monster Rancher than anything else I've played.
That's cool.
But game is been out for a while. They're about to launch a 2.0 patch sometime later this year. It's in beta right now, which is why I grabbed it and decided to start over. But also, like, just this game there aren't very many games with this amount of depth and detail, even in this genre. Yeah, Pokemon has like a million hidden stats that you don't need to care about when you play the game. This one exposes some of them, but also says, again, you don't need to care. You can care about this later when you're doing optional, more difficult content. Or if you'd like, you can turn on the randomizer right at the start. I just like this game for all of the various options it gives you and how they interact with each other. This is a systems game through and through.
I love a good system.
So is this like a dungeon crawler in the terms of like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, or are you battling through the dungeon with your critters?
You're battling through the dungeon with your critters. It's not like
Okay.
really like Mystery Dungeon. You get boss fights every few floors, which are more difficult encounters. And you have I failed to mention this, you have a party and you're usually fighting parties as well. So it's not just one-on-one.
What was that? Moonlight? It was a party versus party battler from the folks who did State of Decay.
Moonstone Isle, I think, maybe?
What, it got canceled. It didn't actually ever make it to production, but
Right. Moonstone Isle is a game that is still in production. I don't remember what the game was called, but yeah, they were trying.
it was kind of fun. Like, a lot. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it definitely was different to be fighting multiple things at the same time.
I mean, Digimon frequently has you doing that. You have your
Gotta
team
admit,
of 3.
I've never played a Digimon game.
You have never played a Digimon game.
No.
Go grab Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and play it. And then later this year, when it comes out, play Digimon Story Time Stranger.
Like, the only things I know about Digimon are from the card game.
The current card game or the old card game?
The old card game. So I learned something the hard way tonight, that time passes in Dune Awakening in real time, not in time logged in.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And my base was without power.
Oh, no.
And everything, like, I had 2 things that were critical and everything else was bad. But thankfully, because I'm a pack rat, I had a stack of fuel cells that I had just sitting there that I was able to get my 2 generators back up and running again. But yeah, like, so I have 8 days now. But
I have learned today that the worm will happily come and eat you while you are desperately trying to get the crap out of a ship that crashed. And I was too greedy. And then just before we started recording, I learned that apparently sometimes you will log in and just all your stuff will be gone. And I'm still mad about this.
I have learned that there is a definitely it's capable for certain melee enemies to be unaffected by swords, which does seem like a problem.
Unaffected in what way?
Like, you swing right through them.
I've never run into that.
Yup. I managed to kill it, and then it spaghettied itself across the map.
Okay, that's
How did I manage to kill it? With poison.
I'm starting to wonder if it was actually where you were swinging your sword.
Great questions.
I've found swords to be significantly less useful than knives.
I mean, that is appropriate, in all honesty.
Swords are good for multiple targets.
Yes.
I was about to say, I'm actually not sure exactly why you feel that. Because swords also do a lot more damage, and I do not like slow blading enemies twice.
I feel like the damage output on Artisan Sword and Artisan Kindle is the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can swing the Kindle so much faster.
I also... The game definitely has...
Sword is slightly more damage, but it's not by a lot.
The game is absolutely happy to compound failures on you. I finally died for the first time, and then in trying to run my way back to my body, got eaten by the worm.
Yep.
Because of course, a bike is actually despite it being more likely to summon the worm, just being slow in the desert is a good way to you can't cross those dunes without getting wormed.
You can't outrun the worm, not on foot.
This is definitely one of those things where my choice of starting with Bene Gesserit training has taken me a long way, because the dash that you can get is short-lived but very fast.
Yeah, I've seen that sprint. I sure wish I had that.
I kind of
it's fine. I've got lots of good stuff I can do as Mintat and Trooper, but
Mintat is a little frustrating because I am dealing with the fact that this turret is just kind of bad because it wants to target the things that are closest to it, and the things that are closest to it are always immune to it. So that is a challenge. So it's okay, I need to get rid of that. I need to orient everything I do around how do I deal with these swords.
Yeah, see, turret is most useful as an opening gambit, and that's it. So stealth in, drop a turret, get to safety, detonate the turret, let it start killing things, and then you join the combat after it's fired its 4 shots or whatever.
Well, that and, drop it and get it going, and then you fall back to draw the melee guys around a corner and deal with them over there.
I am also dealing with, now I need to go back to Zone 1 to regather all materials so I can make weapons for myself again.
I mean, all the stuff you need should be in the later zones, too.
I believe you. I just don't want to fight those things without good gear.
Or go to my base if you can limp to it, and
go steal some of Bell's stuff.
Raid my cabinets.
Yeah, or come steal some of my stuff.
Yep, same.
It's fine. I'm directly south of the anvil.
Yeah, I've got multiple big chests full of just weapons that I don't need. There is definitely a hey, this experience improves dramatically when you're working with other people in a way that I haven't really seen in a while. It's because Final Fantasy XIV, for example, you need other people because you want to run dungeons together. You cannot do the content solo, therefore you need other people. And in this case, I haven't run into anything I can't solo, but the cushion of there's other people and their support network is immense.
Yeah. I think I'm very nearly done with all the stuff I need to do in the far east of the map. So I'm probably going to start throwing stuff in my buggy and transporting it over to your base.
Nice. Yeah, I need to expand the garage so that we can fit more buggies, but it's on my to-do list. I think it's kind of neat that every class has something, often early, that I think is super good. I think that compel that you get off the bat from Bene Gesserit is not actually very good, but
the sprint is incredible. The Swordmaster has to get up to Crippling Strike, but Crippling Strike is, I am uninterested in engaging in melee with this character, with this enemy. I'm going to kill them right now. It's very good. And like Shigawire Claw on the Trooper is...
Yeah, but the problem with Shigawire Claw is it's not really that good until you also have a Suspensor Belt. It becomes infinitely better once you have that.
It's true. Like, it's mildly amusing against enemies and a very good way to harm yourself quite badly until you have a Suspensor Belt, at which point...
You can literally fly.
At which point you are flying across the map, and it's incredibly satisfying. I really like Poison Capsule and Poison Mine, and Solido Decoy on the Mentat.
I've not used Poison Capsule that much. So what is the setup that is useful with that?
With a Poison Capsule?
Yeah, like
poison hurts people through shields.
So do you just throw it out while you're in melee range with somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like Bene Gesserit has a bunch of, hey, actually it's very hard to poison me stuff. And so I have those up, and then I just drop just a hateful poison cloud around me is like a build I've tried.
I guess I should throw that on when I don't need to fly. At what level do you get your third main ability?
It's story-based. It's when you unlock the ability to have spice in your system, basically. Which apparently, I guess it doesn't decrease on its own. I assume if I ever hit the LNR sticks together and activate like spice mode, then the bar will start to drop.
Yeah.
But I've just been running around with the bar full, happy to have my third ability. It's fine.
The third ability just unlocks. It is not dependent on having spice available.
Oh, okay.
It's worded confusingly.
Yeah, the wording on the unlock made it sound like it only was available while you had spice. Okay.
No. Like, I thought that too, but no, it's just available all the time.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll actually use the spice then.
I don't get a lot out of... I don't do very much that lets me use the spice very well, but it's probably really good. There are definitely breakpoints in the progression of the game where like the experience changes dramatically. Getting that third ability was one of them for me. Getting the expanded selection of weapons, like the full selection of weapons, was another one. Because the sniper rifle is incredible.
The sniper
rifle is like fantastic. Where I live now.
I just shot you in the head. You're probably dead, and if you're not, you're poisoned.
Yeah, like,
good luck.
If you're not dead now, odds are very good that you're dead soon.
How do the other enemies react when you're sniping?
Depends on if they can hear you.
Are they able to hone in on your location, or can you like literally whittle down an entire camp with sniper shots?
I've whittled down entire camps with sniper shots. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, if you shoot somebody, if you drop somebody like right next to somebody else, they're going to go aggro. But the higher level melee enemies start carrying pistols, which is actually a very bad idea for them because shields go down when you shoot. Like, the most annoying enemies to me are the ones that have shields and no ranged weapon, because I have to engage them in melee.
See, I hate the shielded guys with the autocannons.
Those guys they're annoying because they have a lot of hit points, but I have witch powers and just teleport behind them and stab them after, like, they start shooting at me, I shoot them in the face and then teleport behind them because it's nothing personal.
So like I was watching a video of someone's, thoughts about the game, and one comment that they made that like really resonates with me is I wish there was like a tool button that had all of my tools on it.
Yes.
Because like I feel like I have the constant pressure of, equipping tools versus equipping weapons.
Yeah.
I have like a very particular button set up, and there's some stuff that I switch out, but like I switch out contextually, but not because I don't need my like construction tool all the time.
Yeah.
But if there was just like a modal button that had all of your various tools on it,
Yeah.
that would be very handy. Because, like, I only need to weld if I'm messing with my vehicle. I only need to build if I'm messing with my base.
Yeah.
I always need to train corpses.
So I've been running around exclusively in a still suit, and I have not needed the bit where I transcended needing to worry about water for myself was really weird. Because I definitely hit a point where, like, between having a really good still suit and moving around the map quickly enough, I haven't tapped my Leader John button in a long time now. I mean, this does not mean that I don't have water problems, to be clear, but
Not problems about water to drink.
yeah, drinking water, not a problem.
That's not an issue. I don't know. I set up a wind trap, and so that's very helpful. It's slow, but it's just, running all the time.
Yeah, they're so expensive. Luckily, you get all of your materials back. This is actually why I think it would be awesome to like coalesce into a single base, because like your one wind trap and like my wind trap, like all of those things could come together and we would have like a very like a force multiplier. Because like I'm trying to get a backup ornithopter, partly so that somebody else can use it, and partly because I have lost enough vehicles to greed, mostly. But the ornithopter is expensive.
That's a lot of aluminum.
It's either a lot of aluminum or a lot of Solaris. You can buy all of the parts for an ornithopter from a faction vendor if you don't want to go through the gathering process.
Man, why would I don't necessarily. What are the faction options?
It's a trophies in Harkonnen.
Good guys and bad guys.
Gosh. Wow, I hate both of them.
I mean, look, it's a feudal society. There is no good nobility, but there's the nobility that, like, at least pays some lip service to, I don't know, human rights.
Yeah, I guess the Harkonnen are terrible people, and the Atreides are green.
Yep.
They do introduce. It takes them. They use a honestly shocking amount of restraint, but you do eventually meet some of the like primary characters from the books, like actually important people. I have a lot of respect for how long it takes for that to happen, because it means like there are so many games where it's like, oh, you're playing a Star Wars game. We're going to introduce you to Luke Skywalker immediately. Like, okay, cool. Whereas this is like, oh, like, yes, these characters do exist, but they're kind of busy. And until you are like, it feels like I'm relevant enough to cross paths with them.
Mm-hmm.
Fade Routh sucks.
I mean, he is the worst.
He is, in fact, the worst.
And I absolutely love that even in a timeline where Lady Jessica stuck to the plan still fails because Fade Routha is the worst.
Yeah, he's just terrible.
Yeah, Lady Jessica's gonna have a daughter, and then we're gonna marry that daughter to the Harkonnen son. Yeah, well, she has some thoughts about this.
Yeah, because that dude sucks.
I've dealt with Thufir Hawat a few times because he's, very indirectly involved in the Mentat advanced stuff.
Yeah.
He's not the one training you.
Duncan, Idaho, same deal with Duncan, Idaho for Swordmasters.
Like, he's not the one training you. The guy training you really, really, really wants to work with Thufir Hawat. And then I've spoken to Peter DeVries. He had very little time for me, which is fine. He sucks. Screw that guy.
Yeah, the advanced Swordmaster trainer is like, there's only one other person on this planet who is even reasonably decent as a Swordmaster, and that's Duncan, Idaho, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men.
and we've likely gone over at this point. Any final thoughts about anything?
Digimon is a very interesting setting, and you should play the games.
Okay.
But only the story games.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.